Right, so we should be live. Let me just double check a few things on YouTube, a few things on the app. We're live in two places right now, so I've never actually done this. Um, in this live stream, basically, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to show you guys the exact process that it takes to rank a new website. I'm going to be doing the entire process. This doesn't seem to be working on the app. Let me just. Let me just check the YouTube channel to see if we are live. One person is watching. Yep, so we're live on there. Let me check the app. By the way, guys, feel free to ask any questions. Remove this destination from the stream. I think we're only going to be able to go live on YouTube. So if you guys do have any questions, do let me know. I'm just going to... Right. So in this video or in this live stream, feel free to ask questions. This is fully live. It's not pre-recorded. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to be showing you guys the process of ranking a local website in 2026. This is probably going to be a little bit longer. I will happily answer any questions as well. So feel free to ask any questions. Like what I said before, it's not pre-recorded or anything. So yeah, anything that you guys have as a concern, feel free to drop it in the comments. Another thing worth mentioning as well is I'm going to be going through the entire process from keyword research, from which articles you actually need. So like categorizing the articles. I'll also probably use a few prompts as well. So you can by all means use any of those prompts. So let's get started. What I'll do is I'll share my screen and I'll show you guys a few tools that I'm using as well that are completely free to use. So I have downloaded and I'm basically using this. This is Developer Studio, but this basically allows me to create a WordPress website. So for testing purposes, this is really good. So I can like just create a website. We'll call this, we'll do an accountancy website. We'll call it XYZ Accountants, and we will add the website. So basically what this allows us to do is this will create a website locally, so we can basically like add any articles that we want to, remove any articles, do any testing and stuff like that. So this basically allows us to do that. While this is doing its thing, what I will do as well is I'll show you, because obviously every SEO or every SEO strategy starts off with keyword research. Now, there's a few different types of articles that we actually need to worry about when it comes to doing keyword research. So if I just load up Canva, by the way, this is not going to be a good or perfect drawing by any means, so bear with me. So we're going to have a few different styles of keywords that we want to go after, right? So we will have our core services, right? So this, for example, for an accountancy firm, it might be like tax returns, it might be VAT returns. It might be chartered accountants if you're in UK. If you're in America, that might be like CPA accountants, right? So you want your core services. Another thing that you also want is locations as well. Right now, the reason why locations is really important is because this will define where you show up for as well. So if you've got a page to do with, let's say, accountants in London, for example, if that's a dedicated page, you have a better chance to show up for that keyword, which is obviously accountants in London. You then have modifiers. So modifiers could be like service plus something, right? So service for X, right? So this could be like accountants for, let's say, accountants for doctors, accountants for vets, etc. And then you also have blogs as well. So blog articles. Now, these are basically like your your middle and top of funnel. So basically, this could be like, should I hire an accountant? These could be very much long tail queries, right? So you've basically got 4 different types of keywords that you would basically want to do keyword research for. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can actually do your keyword research. You can use tools, you can use Ahrefs, you can use SEMrush, you can use no tools at all, and you can reverse engineer your competitors. I'll show you guys a few different ways on how you can actually establish topical authority. So let's see if our website is now live. Yes, it is. So basically, by the way, I'm using WordPress Studio, free tool, but this basically allows me to create a website on my local host, so I can play around with it. I can add articles, I can remove articles as and when I need to. So if I just click on WP admin, it should hopefully log me in. So I've got access to the back end. There we go. So the first step that we would want to do is start filling up these service style articles, right? So what I like to do with any website is create a new Google Sheet, right? New Google Sheet. We'll create a new sheet. And we will, I just need to log in to my Google account. Let me just log in very quickly. Right, there we go. All logged in now. So basically, right, what we're going to do is first of all get our list of core services, right? So we're going to set up some of these columns. And it's really important that we set up these columns because there will be some overlap as well. So what we'll do is we'll call this locations. By the way, guys, feel free to ask any questions. Right, so we've got our locations, then we have got services for X, and I'll show you guys what I mean for services for X in a second as well. And then we've got blog articles also. Now, this is a very, very bare bones way of doing keyword research. I'm sure that we will probably break this down into a more advanced way as we go along. Like what I mentioned at the start, this might be a 45-minute video. It might be a 2-hour live stream as well. So just bear with me. So for the services, right, we would basically, or this is what I would do, right? Let's say I am an accountancy firm in London. Accountancy firm in London, right? I would search for that keyword, or I would search for a variation. So it could be accountancy firm in London. It might be accountants, London. So this is basically going to allow us to see our competitors, right? Now, I like to take a look at a few different competitors, like maybe 4 or 5 different competitors. So for example, these guys, they've got a lot of different services here. So they've got audit services, business growth, corporate finance, digital transformation, donor funded. Now, what I'm actually going to do for the list of services, right? I'm going to actually create a new sheet, and I'm going to put in the name of these guys here. And if you haven't already, I recommend getting this Chrome extension. It's called Link Clump, because this is going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to reverse engineering your competitor websites. This basically allows you to grab any URLs or any titles. So we can actually configure this to only grab like titles, or we can grab URLs. I only care about the titles. Now, the titles basically means that if we were to hold down Z on their navigation bar and click and drag, we can basically grab all of their list of services. You can also just copy and paste it as well if you really wanted to. So we can just paste and then do values only. And this basically gives us a list of all of their services, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to obviously make certain that if you're doing this method, right, you actually offer some of these services. You're not just copying and pasting all of their services. So like for example, some accountancy firms in the UK, they don't actually offer like research and development, or they don't do payroll, for example. So just take a look at these services, make certain that you actually do all of them. If you don't, by all means, delete a couple of them. Like maybe you might not do digital transformation, maybe you might not do global mobility, you might not do HR consultancy, but everything else you might end up actually saying, yep, I do all of those. Now, you want to do the exact same thing for other accountancy firms that are ranking for your seed keyword, right? So for example, these guys rank second for Accountants London. And again, what we're just going to do is we're going to hold down on Z and just copy all of these services. And we're also going to copy these guys' URL here, right? So again, you might take a look at these services. You might say, I don't do R&D tax credits. I also don't do, or actually the About Us and the Our services you can delete. I also don't do Dubai accountants, right? So you do everything else. That's all fine. And we're going to do this a third time as well. This is going to give us the most concise way of actually getting a list of services. So again, if we go to services for businesses, and again, all we're just going to do is we're going to copy all of these and we're going to paste that in there. And then they've actually got two sets of services. So they've got services for businesses, which is what we're looking at right now. And they also have services for individuals. So again, we're just going to do that. We're going to copy all of these as well. Again, we're just going to copy this here. Now, you might take a look and see what these guys again don't do. So you might not offer CFO services, you might not do company secretarial, and you might not do disputes, and the rest you obviously do. Now, what we want to do, right, is these are obviously the three best ranking websites for our main keyword, which is Accountants London. What we're going to now do is we're going to actually remove any duplicates. So I'm just going to copy this. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. And what we're going to do here is just paste in all of that and say, this is all of my competitors' service pages. Can you give me a clean list and remove any duplicates? I offer all of these services. Right, so basically this is going to take a look at all of the service pages that we've given it. It's then going to break it down into sections. So as you can see here, we've got like the accounting and auditing section, we've got tax services, we've got corporate tax, all of these, right? Basically, these are our list of service pages, right? So that probably took us like maybe 10 minutes to do. It's a little bit of a time-consuming task. You can obviously add more accountancy firms or more competitors in this list if you really wanted to. But this has given us a very precise list of actual services to actually go after. Now, one thing that I don't like that ChatGPT does is it's given it in a weird format. So what I'm actually going to do is, can you give me this in a table format? This will basically allow us to just copy and paste it into Google Sheets, right? So we're going to copy this. What we're going to do is we're going to just delete that. And this is the list of services that we care about, right? So we've got, how many is that? So we've got we've got 40 different services. That's brilliant. Now, what we then want to do is go after locations, right? So locations is pretty important. Like if we were to search for, let's go after some suburbs of London, right? So I'll show you guys how accountants, London. If we load up the maps, what you'll typically find is people end up creating pages for different suburbs. So like if we were to search for like accountants Paddington, accountants Chelsea, accountants Fulham, Putney, Brixton, Greenwich, there will be like what's called like a location page, right? So if we do accountants Chelsea, right? So as you can see here, these guys, they're actually doing it very well. So they've got a Chelsea page. Let's see if we can find a list of all of their towns. Let's see if they have a Fulham page. Fulham. Yes, they do. Right. So this tells me that they have actually got like a pretty reasonably knowledged SEO running the show. Let's see if we can find their pages. So as you can see here, don't know if you guys can see that. They've got Fulham, Chelsea, Putney, Hammersmith, Kensington, Knightsbridge, Mayfair, Wimbledon, Battersea, Wandsworth, Cheswick, Southwest London, and that's the list of. Actually, they've got Edinburgh down here as well, right? So what we would want to basically do here is we could obviously just grab all of these. Which other locations should I have a page for? This is my competitor. Give me a list in table format. Now, basically, what this is basically going to do for us is it's going to make it very, very easy for us to rank in different areas and different suburbs of London. Right, so this is basically just giving us all the locations in and around London. So as you can see, we've got accountants Clapham. And as you can see, these guys are doing it already. There's a lot of accountancy firms going after this very similar strategy that I'm showing you guys right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a list of all of these and also all of these. Can you give me the full list, including the URLs I gave you? So as you can see here, we've got a nice set of areas to go after now. And again, I'm just going to delete these. And we've got a list of, 31 areas? 30 areas. So that's our location pages done now. So now the services for X, right? This is very much niche dependent. Some niches do need this. Some niches don't need this. But let me give you an example, right? So services for X, this could be like this is what I like to do: accountants for, and then A. So you've got accounts for actors, authors, artists, amalgamation, associates, assets, accruals for a joint venture for AI. Then you can do B, and then you've got accounts for businesses, accounts for barristers, buy-to-let landlords, builders, and then the small businesses is very similar to what we were looking at before. Then you could do C, so accounts for creatives, content creators, capital gains tax, charities, contractors, couriers, childminders, construction companies, creatives London, right? Then you can do D, and you get the point, right? This is basically going after your service plus something else. So if I was to do accountants for A, so we could do accountants for all actors, authors, artists. Now, what I like to do for this section is you can actually use Gemini for this, right? So if we do Gemini, and it's probably going to ask me to sign in. Just a second. Always asks me to sign in. Where, like any of the Google assets. I don't know why it just randomly logs me out. Yes, it is me. Right. I want you to do keyword research using the alphabet soup method for accountants for X. Replace X with keywords that actually get searched. Display it in a table format. We're going to hit enter. This is basically going to do this keyword drop down or keyword soup method for us. So as you can see here, we've got all of the lists down here now. So it has only done one per character. So we could actually say, can you give me a group for A, right? Because we know for a fact that it's not just accounts for Airbnb hosts that get searches. It's going to be accounts for a lot of different stuff, right? So you've got accounts for Airbnb Airbnb hosts, Amazon sellers, architects, artists, app developers, agencies, academics, architecture, right? So again, now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy all of these. And we're just going to go into, why is that not copied correctly? Copy table. There we go. So we've got accounts for all of these. I'll just unbold it. Don't know why it's created in bold. So yeah, I'm happy with these. I'm just taking a look to see if there's any like duplicates. Sometimes it does duplicate stuff. And then we're also going to do, can you do the same for B? There we go. Accountants for boat owners. That's a very niche one. I might not actually have one for accountants for boat owners. This is in some cases why I like to take a look to see what it's actually spitting out, because sometimes any AI, if you just let it do its thing, it will mess up at times. So these ones I'm all happy with, but I'm going to just remove accountants for boat owners. Accountants for B&B owners. Let's take a look at that. All right, okay. So if you're ever unsure if you should actually create a page or not for a certain keyword, what you should search is like search for the keyword and see if other people are doing it. If other people are doing it, it's a good indication that you should do it, because obviously they will be generating leads and stuff as well. Now, I'm not going to do this for the entire like alphabet, but you guys get the point, right? So
use that prompt that I showed you guys. Where was it now? I want you to do the keyword research using alphabet soup method for accountants for X. So in your case, it might be like lawyers for X. And then it's just going to do its thing. And then you can obviously say to it, can you give me a group for the letter A? Can you do the same for B? And it's going to keep spitting out different articles that you should actually have as well. Then we've got blog articles, and the blog articles, this is where it gets a little bit more time consuming, because in certain industries you will need anything from like 3 to like maybe 10 supporting articles for each service, right? So for example, if we have our bookkeeping service page, we might need a few different blog articles. Now, you could use AI to generate you the titles, or you could actually take a look at other ranking competitors as well. So for example, we'll again search accountants London, and let's see who is a very known website. I'm trying to see if there's a accountants London. We'll do tax. Right, so these guys we were actually looking at before, right? What we could actually do is we can take a look at their website by doing site colon in their domain name. And then we can grab one of the service pages and see how many blog articles they actually have to do with bookkeeping. Now, bookkeeping is a little bit it's a little bit of an easier keyword. So in some cases, you might need to play around with this and actually see if there are keywords. Let's see if they've got R and D tax, right? Let's see if they've got some blog articles to do with that. So they've got some blog articles here. Let's see, accountants Lee. There's usually, yeah, that's it, tax assist. So these guys, they actually do have a very big resources section, right? So if we do bookkeeping, for example, so they've got a few different books. So this is their main bookkeeping service page, right? And then they've got like the importance of bookkeeping for small businesses, common bookkeeping mistakes to avoid, how bookkeeping services can save you time and money, how bookkeeping works for a sole trader, right? What's the difference between bookkeeping and accounting, right? These are all pretty decent articles. So I'm just going to use the link clump extension here. And I'm going to copy all of their blog articles, right? And again, we're going to go into ChatGPT. Can you give me unique titles for all of these blogs to do with bookkeeping? So as you can see, we've got 7 supporting articles that we can actually copy and paste into our blog article section. We're just going to clean this up a little bit. So these are all to do with the blog bookkeeping page, right? So for example, what I would do here is I would set up another column and I would have this as supporting articles. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in some tick boxes in here just so we can keep track of things. So we're going to do insert and we will do checkbox, right? And these are all obviously the bookkeeping page. So we'll find the bookkeeping silo and we'll do that. And if you really want to make this a little bit more user friendly, what we can do is we can do text contains true. And we'll also do text contains false. And that basically indicates to us that we actually have got the supporting pages for the bookkeeping page. Now, in some cases, you might throw up all these support and blog articles and you might still not rank. And in that case, you might need more. You might need more supporting articles, right? That's just the name of the game. Depending on how hard it is to rank these service pages, you might need more supporting articles. But right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 supporting articles that supports the bookkeeping silo, right? So we've basically just created our first silo on paper, right? The next thing that you would want to do is you would obviously want to do this for as many of these different services as you possibly can, right? Which also, by the way, might end up meaning that we might actually end up having like 400 blog articles, but these are all supporting articles for our service pages. So then we would want to do the exact same thing. Now you would obviously want to try and find a few different competitors. Like I'm just looking at Tax Assist right now, but let's take a look at VAT, right? So VAT is really big in the UK, value added tax. So we've got how to know if you need to register for VAT. That's a really good article. Can I register for VAT when incorporated to reclaim sole trade expense? Should I register for VAT? Why and how sole traders can become VAT registered? Will my limited company need a new VAT number? What is the VAT threshold? All of these are pretty decent articles to do with VAT. One thing that I am going to take a look at is, yeah, so these are all like blog articles, like long form blog articles. Now, the good thing about these long form blog articles, or the good thing about the blog articles that we end up doing research for, right? These are going to be like pretty easy to rank for. So what the goal is we establish trust with Google with these long form blog articles, these long tail keywords. And once these are ranking, we will end up ranking for more of these service pages, the location pages, the services for X style pages as well. So it's really important that we do a thorough investigation on which long form articles that we actually need as well. So I am going to do, again, we're just going to hold down on this and we're just going to copy these and we're just going to do this. Can you do the same with these? Right, so this is going to give us some VAT related supporting articles, which is good. Again, I'm not going to go through the entire list, but you guys get the point right now. Once you've obviously got the supporting articles for the VAT style stuff, you would then just copy these and then paste it into our research document. Actually, do you know what I'm going to say? Can you give me this in a table format? Just saves us from messing around with the table and stuff. So we're going to do this. We're going to go into our tab 2 and we're going to just grab these unique blog titles. And again, that's our supporting blog articles to do with VAT. Again, just take a look at these blog article titles, make certain that they actually make sense and stuff like that. By the way, guys, feel free to ask any questions. So now I feel like we have done our keyword research. So what we've done up until now is we've got a list of our services. We've got a list of supporting articles. right? So we've not done all the supporting articles. We've done supporting articles for 2 service pages. Keep in mind, by the way, that some service pages that are more difficult to rank for, you will need more supporting blog articles. So for example, the bookkeeping silo, we've got 7 blog articles or 7 supporting articles. And then for the VAT, which is a much harder keyword to rank for, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 supporting articles, right? There's not really like a right or wrong for this. Just as long as you just have some form of supporting articles. In some cases, it might be 2 supporting blogs, right? There might not be that many questions. We have got Jehovah Says Net Worth. I like the name. Rich results, structured data, schema, markup validator, robots.txt, XML. Regularly test both your schema using, yes. There is a really good schema testing tool. Schema testing tool. It's not the Google one that I was using. Here it is. Is it Schema app? No. Classyschema.org. If you're ever interested in testing out schema, I highly recommend this website. I feel like this is like really massively just not used at all, right? So you can just go to any website. So this is kasra.com, and you can fetch from a URL, right? So you can just paste in any URL, you can fetch the content, and it also visualizes the schema as well, which is really nice to see. So you've got the response here, right? But what you can actually do as well is you can do visualization. Why is it not working? Examples, fetch from URL, fetch content. I don't know why this isn't working now. It was working when I was using it yesterday. Visualization only. Maybe. Am I just being structured data viewer? Visualization. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's the visualization. It does all the visualization for you. So like what are vocabularies? You've got answers, etc. Do you have any automation or SOP for the silo research? Yeah. I'll show you a very quick way of doing keyword research, right? So obviously this section, this probably took us the best part of like 40 minutes to do. But if you wanted to do this on the fly very, very quickly, what you can do is you can search for accountants for London. Now, the issue you've got with this method, right, is that it will take a little bit more time on spot check and stuff. So, for example, let's take a look at these guys, right? So if we do sitemap.xml, what you can do is you can literally just lift their entire sitemap. Now, I'm not saying that this is a right thing to do or a bad thing to do, but you've got a list of their entire services right there. So these guys, they actually have a services sitemap, right? So you've got the list of services right there. So you can literally just go in, you can go into ChatGPT and say, can you give me a list of services? Right? This will do its thing for you. And this will basically just give you the list of services right there and then. Now, obviously, this sitemap that I chose was pretty small, but it's worthwhile knowing, especially if they've got like quite a lot of blog articles, for example, right? So you could do the exact same thing for their blogs as well. Can you do the same for the blog section. Like the thing is, right, how I see it is they've already done their keyword research. They're already ranking position number 2 for accountants for London. So what they're doing from an on-page and keyword research point of view, it makes sense, right? So you've got all of their services right there and then. That you can basically just pick and choose which ones that you actually want on your website. So for example, right, we have got cash flow management. So we could literally just copy this and we could say, right, this is our new silo for cash flow management. I don't know if we've actually got that as a service, but that's a very common service that accountancy firms actually provide. So let's just see cash flow. We don't actually have that, so we can actually add this cash flow services. So now we've got 3 silos set up. That was pretty quick, actually, that one. So there's a manual way to do stuff. There's also a quick way to do stuff as well. Yes, I like the data visualization. Yeah, it makes it very much easy to understand. Like schema markup is just so boring to look at times. So it's always nice to take a look at it. So yeah, we've got our 4 sections now. Now, I'm going to basically, I've got like a dummy website that I'm basically just going to fill up here, right? So basically what we would do here is I like to have my service pages as actual pages. I like my locations as actual pages also. And my services for, these are also pages. But my blog article, these are blogs. So this is how I set it up. There's not really a right or wrong, but again, it's just good to know. Like if some of you guys are watching this and some of you guys have everything under blogs, that's totally fine to do. Now, the reason why I have my blog articles as blog posts or what's it called? Yeah, posts on WordPress is I can categorize these with the actual categories. So what I would then do is I would have like a bookkeeping silo. So I would have bookkeeping silo, right? So all of my blog articles to do with bookkeeping would go into that category. Next, what we would then do is we would set up the VAT silo. So again, we'll call this VAT silo. And again, this is our VAT silo, right? So we've done that. And then we've got our cash flow services page. Services. And that would basically be it done, right? So that's our categories set up. Now, obviously, if you have got more supporting articles, you might have 10 different silos. You might want to set up 10 different categories, right? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to start creating our actual services. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one thing here. We're going to set up a home page. So we'll call this home page. You can call this whatever you want. Actually, do you know what? We'll leave it as homepage for now. We can change it at a later date. One thing that you would want to do when it comes to your homepage is actually populate it with content, because this is just like a test website that I'm just showing you guys. It's not really the end of the world. So then what we're going to do is we're going to have our homepage as set to homepage here. We can also set up a blogs page as well. So we'll go back into our pages here. We'll set up we we can call this like resources instead of blog articles. I mean, again, there's not really a right or wrong for this, resources. So we'll click publish on that, and resources. What I like to do here with this setting is blog pages show at most. I'm going to set this to be in like 100, mainly because I don't like it when it has like multiple different blog pages. Sometimes you take a look at websites and they've got like 15 blog pages. So now if we take a look at the home page, we should have a home page here. It's not really sexy by any means. And then if we take a look at our blog articles page as well, why is it not showing up? All pages. Yeah, resources. So this is our posts page. So whenever we publish a new article in here, it will go to that page, right? So what we're then going to do is posts. We're going to set up a few blog articles. So what we then want to do is we'll create a blog article on the most common bookkeeping errors that cost businesses money. Now, I do have a separate video on how to generate content that actually ranks. For the purpose of this video, because I don't want this to be like 4 hours long, we'll just generate it with a very simple prompt. I do recommend going and watching that video because the articles that I publish on this website, they won't rank. They're not SEO optimized. They're not semantically relevant. This is just for the purpose of this video, right? So we'll do, can you write me a SEO optimized article? Right. Now, it's not going to be SEO optimized. It's going to be very, very bare bones. But it's just for the purpose of this video, right? So we will let this do its thing. We'll create a post here. And we will just copy this. And we'll copy all of this. Can you share the link of the content generation video? Yes, I can. Let me show you. Where was it now? This is how you rank after a Google algorithm update. Where is the video? I believe it was this. Get shareable URL. Yes. So here is the video, Yash. I will send it to you in the chat. I'm hoping you can actually open that URL. But it's like a 15-minute video. It's got all the prompts. It's got everything in there. You basically are able to generate a much better article with better prompts as well. Right. So going back to this. So again, we'll copy this. We'll just paste into our blog section. What we're going to also do as well is it is important that you categorize these blog articles, right? So we'll click on publish. We'll see what it looks like. I'm thinking we're probably going to need to change the URL structure. So as you can see here, right, by default, WordPress sets up the URL like this. What you want to do if you have that issue, especially if on a new website, this isn't like an SEO friendly blog article by any means, or it's not an SEO friendly URL, right? What we actually want is this, the most common bookkeeping errors that businesses make. You want that to be close to the root. So if we go to reading, I believe, or is it writing? I always forget when it comes to this one. Permalinks. Is it permalinks? Maybe permalinks. There we go. So we've got post name. So we're just going to set it to that, and we're going to click Save Changes. And basically what this does is right now we've got the date of when this was published. So we've got 2026-01-07. If we refresh that now, if we go to posts, URL should be updated. So it is only the most common bookkeeping errors that cost businesses money, right? So that's brilliant. Next, what we want to do is we want to categorize this. So this was part of our bookkeeping silo, right? So we're going to make certain that it's within the bookkeeping silo. Now, what we would basically want to do is do the exact same thing for all of these articles. I won't publish all of the articles, but just so you guys know, you would want to basically publish one by one all of these articles. There's obviously quicker ways that you can obviously do it as well, but that's how you set up your supporting blog articles. Now, a few different things that you need to bear in mind is for SEO optimized content, you want to make certain that the keyword that you're trying to rank for is obviously within the first paragraph. For a supporting article, like any of these, right? This is just like good practice stuff, right? You want to make certain that this internally links to the main service page, which is bookkeeping, right? Bookkeeping for businesses, bookkeeping for companies, whatever you want this page to rank for. You want to try and make certain that all of these supporting blog articles are internally linking back up to that page. Now, the reason that I say you should do this, right, is every single page has what's called page rank. And if your main service page, which is the page that's going to ultimately generate you the most leads, if that page specifically doesn't actually have any page rank or it doesn't have any internal links, Google doesn't know that that page is important. So you want to make certain that you use your supporting pages as almost like, it's the reason why they're called supporting pages, right? They support the main service page. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a bookkeeping for businesses page, right? So can you create me a page to do with bookkeeping for businesses, right? You can even give it a little bit of personalization. So my accounting firm is called, what did we call it? XYZ Accountants. Again, for the purpose of this video, I'm not using all of the prompts because this would end up being like a 7-hour long live stream. So then what we've got is we have got all pages, and we're going to create the service page as an actual page, right? Also, if you're wondering why this isn't good content, because again, some people, like, if you're just new to SEO and stuff and you've never ranked a website, the reason why this isn't good content is, one, because it's not really concise. It's very wishy-washy. ChatGPT or OpenAI, if you just give it a prompt like what I've just done now, it does tend to use a lot of bullet points and a lot of like shorter sentences. So like if you take a look, right, this is like less than 1,000 words probably, and it's used 3 different bullet point sections. Now, I'm not totally against bullet points, by the way, but the issue you've got with this is the fact that it's just using bullet points to just fill up the space almost. That's my thoughts on it anyway. It's not really that great content. But again, just for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and do our thing, right? So as you can see here, we've got all of our content, and we're going to just wait until this is done auto saving, and we're going to click on publish. Why has this not finished auto saving? Come on. Leave. This just crashed on me. I think this might have crashed. Come on. Let's see. It's always when you do a live stream, stuff just doesn't work. There we go. Right. So bookkeeping services for businesses. can we click on edit and see if it has worked? Not sure why it's not showing up correctly. Oh, there we go. Right, so this is now publishing. So now we actually do have our service page set up correctly as well. So let's take a look here. There we go. So it's all set up now. Now, one thing that I'm actually going to do is the resources page that I set up before. We're going to go into the most common bookkeeping errors, and we're just going to internally link back up to our service page, right? So we will find a section. You also want to make certain that it makes sense, right? You don't want to just copy, or you don't want to just include a link for the sake of including a link. So what I might actually do is I might actually get ChatGPT to rewrite this. Can you rewrite this and also mention that we offer bookkeeping services? So it allows for me to internal link to my bookkeeping page. Now, the reason why this is really important, right, is because people typically just, like, I could have just used this as an internal link back up to my service page. But the reason why that isn't a great thing to do is because there's no context around that internal link. You want to make certain that when you're doing internal links, you're not just taking a look at this article and you're like, right, okay, we have a page to do with cash flow. I'm going to use this as being the internal link and internally linking it to cash flow. You want to make certain that the paragraph or the sentence or the heading above the internal link actually makes sense as well. So we're going to just copy this and we're going to paste that into here. And now this is a way better internal link, right? So we're going to now internal link via this bookkeeping. Come on. I mean, one thing that we could always just do is copy that link. And we can just save that. Not sure why this is being super slow right now. But as you can see here, once it's fully refreshed, that's our internal link. At XYZ Accountants, we offer professional bookkeeping services for businesses that want accurate results, better financial visibility, and peace of mind. In this guide, we break down the most common bookkeeping mistakes businesses make and explain how to avoid them, right? So we've internally, so far what we've done is we've done our keyword research, we've identified which service pages we need, we've identified which blog articles we need, services for X, and also our location pages. We've also published our first supporting article, and we've made certain to internally link to our services as well, or to our main service, right? So now what you would basically want to do is you would want to do this exact same process for all of these other supporting blog articles. Right. So again, I'm not going to do this in this video because it would just take so much time. But as you can see, like this is how you end up ranking a website, right? So you would individually want to create all of these. Carlos McKenna. Hey, how you doing, Carlos? Good to see you. Thanks, mate, for the little comment. So now we've got all of these set up. We would then want to set up our location pages. Now, the location pages you can do in a programmatic SEO way, or you could create them one by one. Now, because there's only like 30 locations here, right? I'm probably going to create them one by one. If you were going to generate, let's say 50, 60, 100, you would want to probably use like a tool like MPG, like Mass Page Builder, something like that, to generate these location pages. But let's do one for accountants for Fulham, right? So we'll go here. We will do now write me an article for. Again, for the purpose of this video, don't just go into ChatGPT and use that prompt because you're probably not going to rank. I'm just using it for the ease of this video. So we've got accountants for Fulham for businesses and individuals. It's now creating the entire article. We are ready to rock and roll. So we'll just copy this. We'll go to our pages. And again, like what I said before, I like to create my locations as actual pages and not posts. The only time I use posts on WordPress is when I'm creating blog articles. So again, I'm not happy with the content, but for the purpose of this video, I am happy. Again, where you're doing our accounting services in Fulham, right? This is a brilliant opportunity to actually internally link to these services. So what I would probably actually do, actually it looks like it's actually done it already. So we've got a H2 here, and then all of these is our services, right? So where it says we offer professional bookkeeping services, that's not actually a bad place to internally link to our bookkeeping page, right? So bookkeeping. This is going to take so long. We'll just copy this. So that's our internal link. Now, in an ideal world, you would actually have a lot more services set up here, right? So if you obviously have a tax returns page, you would obviously internally link in this section to your tax returns page. If you've got VAT page, you would obviously internally link to your VAT page from this page here as well, right? So we're going to take a look at this. With these URLs, I like to keep them as very short and concise as possible. So I might even just have it as like Fulham. And then we should have our first location page set up as well. So we'll do completed. And there we go. With if you guys do end up using WordPress Studio, it's free to use, but from my experience of using it today, it is a little bit slow. The good thing about this is it actually does tie into Cursor. So if you guys have like a Cursor account, you can actually prompt this to set up a brand new website for you as well. So you don't even need to like pay for any themes, nothing like that. So as you can see here, we've got accountants for Fulham, business and individuals. So that's our Fulham page set up. We also have a internal link to our bookkeeping page. So that's brilliant as well. We're getting more link equity going through to our bookkeeping page. We'll also do the one last page here. And this is going to be our page for, let's say, accountants for Airbnbs, right? Let's see. Actually, do you know what? We'll pick something a little bit better. We'll do accountants for agencies, right? Every agency needs an accountant. Can you create an article for accountants for agencies? And again, we're just going to do new page. And like, this is what I was mentioning before, right? Again, I don't know why ChatGPT does this. It does love a set of bullet points. I do not know why it does it, but it just does. Like, look at how many bullet points are here. But the thing is, like, all of these different LLMs have pros and cons. Like, if I'd done the exact same prompt in Claude, it would be a lot more blocky text, right? So maybe I'm just being really picky with the content. Who knows? But we would then create our accountants for agencies page. So we'll just copy this and we will paste it into here. I'm happy with that URL slug, and we will wait until it's done, finished auto-saving, and we will publish this article. Now, there's a few things or a few plugins that I like to use when it comes to SEOing websites. So I'll also go through that. But on the grand scheme of things, right, you guys know exactly from start to finish. Let me just see. Let's see. I mean, so we've got like agency tax planning, corporation tax, payroll, VAT for accountants. These would obviously be places that I would be internally linking to. So, for example, we've got bookkeeping. So we're going to internally link to our bookkeeping services page, and we're going to just click publish. And again, we've been able to create a new page and also internally link it to our bookkeeping page. So again, we're just going to click and drag that down, and accountants for agencies, we'll take that off. So this is our Fulham page, and let's see if this page is now set up. Yeah, so we've got our accountants for agencies page all set up, ready to go. And as you can see here, we've got our internal links, so bookkeeping services as well. So a few plugins that I like to use when it comes to WordPress. I'll go over the few plugins, how to set them up, and then we'll call it a wrap for this video, because otherwise this video is going to end up being like 10 hours long. So I like to use Rank Math. That's my go-to SEO plugin, mainly because it's a little bit more lightweight than Yoast. It has a few features that I quite like, and I'm also paying for like the premium version. You don't need to pay for the premium version, but I find it a little bit more useful when you do have the premium version. It just does a few extra things. So Rank Math, we'll activate that, and we'll go through some of the settings that I like to use. So you can obviously connect it to your account. I'm not going to do that today. There's going to be a few things that you would want to do. So you can do the advanced setting, or you can even go with easy. I'll go through the advanced so you guys know all the settings that you need to do. Website name, that's going to be that's going to be your business's name. So if you are called, let's say, 123 Law Firms, you would obviously make certain that that is set up correctly. You can then set this up as like XYZ Accountants is what are you? Are you a small business site? Are you a web shop? Are you an e-commerce store? We're going to do small business. We're going to set this to be an organization. In some cases, like for example, if you are a gas station, you can actually select that. In other cases, if there is not like a setting specifically for you, then you don't need to worry about this as such. Let's see if there is. So yeah, accounting service, right? So we are an accounting service. You can obviously add in your logo for Google, and also add in the default social share image. I'm not going to do that in this video, but just so you guys know, it actually tells you the exact sizes of the images. So minimum size for your logo for Google, it needs to be 112 by 112 pixels. And then your default social share image needs to be 1200 by 630 pixels. So we're going to click save and continue. You can also connect your Rank Math to Google as well. Again, because I'm just on localhost, I won't be able to do that. But I recommend doing that if you are actually live. So we'll just click on skip this step. The sitemaps, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to disable our categories sitemap because we don't want Google to crawl and index our category pages. But we're going to leave our public posts, so our posts and pages, as being public. No index empty categories, yes. No follow external links by default. Again, this one is like completely up to you. I'll just keep it as being default. Open external links in a new tab, yes, we'll do that, and then we'll click on save and continue. Then you can set up advanced options, or you can just return to dashboard. I'm just going to return to dashboard because we don't really need to worry about that. Is AI images performing same or as normal images? Let's take a look. I think it does come down to certain keywords, right? Because if someone's specifically looking for an AI image, then if you obviously have an AI image, then it's fine. But like if we were to take a look at kitchen remodel inspiration, right? Let's take a look here. These all look like they are genuine photos. I think so. Yes, the thing that I would probably say to you is it also does depend on how well your web page ranks. It's not necessarily about the image. Like for example, when we done the test for the best SEO experts in 2026, right? There was a few people that had AI images. Let me see. Am I mistaken that? Maybe I am mistaken it. I think it very much comes down to how well the page ranks, because it's very hard for an image to rank if the page doesn't rank as well. Not only that, as well as like in some cases you see like a lot of duplicated images working and ranking as well. Like for example, this, and this is pretty similar. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about AI images. I think it's as long as it's a good AI image, it will definitely rank. Another thing as well is it very much comes down to how well the web page ranks as well. Like for example, Fat Rank here, the image is ranking #1 because the web page ranks on page 1 of Google. If this was like on page 6 of Google, it would be very much harder for the image to rank as well. A few other things as well, like make certain if you are uploading images to your website, you actually have them as like alt text, and you actually have them as like the correct image name as well. So like I still see people uploading images and it's like called 4458.png. You want to make certain if you're trying to rank for best SEO experts 2026, the image name is called the keyword that you're trying to rank for as well. And if you do that, if it's an AI image or if it's a real image, you should have a pretty decent chance of it ranking. I hope that answers your question. Yes. So next, what we would then want to do, so another plugin that I like to use is, let me just log into it. So we've got this for being our Chrome extension. We also want a caching plugin as well. So you could probably use WP Rocket. That's like a pretty decent one. And to my knowledge, they've got a free version and also a paid version. Let me just check. Am I lying? Right, okay, so they don't have a paid version, but WP Optimize does a very decent job as well. This will basically allow you to cache any web pages, plugins, optimize any images. So if you've got any images that are like oversized, this is the plugin that you want to be using, because it just minifies everything for you. So if we click on install, so settings, right? This is basically going to be able to allow us to optimize anything that we want, really. Now, bearing in mind, right, I currently, this obviously wouldn't be the way that I would publish the website. I would probably use a theme and stuff like that, but we're not going to go into that. There's a very lightweight theme already, so we're not going to see a massive change when it comes to the caching and stuff like that on this specific theme. However, that being said, if you are using Elementor or any page builders, highly recommend that you use a caching plugin, because what a caching plugin basically does is it allows for servers to store CSS files, to store images. So when a new visitor lands on your website, it doesn't require that visitor to go specifically and directly to your server, which might take, I don't know, few seconds for it to grab all of that information and then display that information. What a caching plugin does is it basically minifies a lot of stuff. So if you've got like a 3 megabyte CSS file, this will try to decrease that size. So it might go down to like, let's say 1 megabyte. And this is really easy to use, right? So we can't use lazy loading because that's part of the paid feature, but that's totally fine. As long as like you're using a tool like, for example, Tiny PNG to compress your images, you should be on the good side. The one caveat to this is if your original images are shot on like a DSLR, stuff like that, you might have some issues, because even if a 6 megabyte file being minified or used on Tiny PNG, it's still going to be pretty big on the outcome. Then we've got the email, save and continue. So this will basically just create all of that. We're going to skip this and then we're basically done for that. Now, the last thing that's probably one of the most important things when it comes to a local website is we need a tool or a plugin to actually capture lead forms, right? Now, there's a lot of different plugins that can obviously do this. My personal favorite is Go High Level. And the reason for that is it's really easy to set up. And I'll show you guys how I basically do it in just a second. So if we go to sites, so this is basically what Go High Level looks like. Now, what we can basically do is we can go into our forms, we can go into Builder. I think I actually do have a form builder set up here, but if you've never used it before, this is basically what it looks like. So we've got our builder, we've got multi-step forms as well. So one thing that you want to have a play around with is once you start ranking a website, you want to start playing around with conversion rate optimization. Now, if you don't know what conversion rate optimization is let's say 100 people visit your website and only 3 people end up filling in the contact form, or 3 people end up phoning you, right? That means your website has a 3% conversion rate. Now, we want to obviously try to increase that to being 6% or 10%, because that's going to be the cheapest way for us to generate more leads without needing to work endlessly on SEO, without needing to build any more links, without needing to build or create any more SEO optimized content, right? That's the easiest way to generate more leads for any business, right? And the easiest way to obviously do that is by having a slick contact form. So I'll show you guys 2 different ways that you can actually start split testing your contact forms, right? So within Go High Level, you've got what's called a regular form. And I'm also sure that other content creation, or sorry, other contact form tools also has this. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on start from scratch. They've obviously also got some templates as well, but we'll start from scratch, and we will call this, XYZ accountant form. Right now, typically speaking, most contact forms just have this set up, right? So they'll have like first name, or they might even have like a full name, right? So what I'll do is they'll have like full name, phone number, email, and then they might have like a submission as well, so multi-line. So this might be like more info, and then we can obviously get rid of a few things. And then this is basically like what a lot of typical accountancy firms have, right? Or a lot of local businesses have. Like, even if we were to search like accountants, Manchester, we'll just take a look at a few different contact forms here, right? Accountants and legal, contact us. So they've got first name, last name, email, contact number, and write your message here. So we'll do write your message here. Right. And then obviously we can change the style in. So for example, if we wanted this to be like a darker background, we obviously could have like a gray background. We can have like where is, we can have like a white text here. And actually this needs to be black. Right. So we'll save it as something like that, right? This is basically what a lot of contact forms look like. Now, what you find with a lot of contact forms that look like this is they don't actually convert that well. A lot of websites by default have this contact form in place because it's just the easy thing to do, right? They just don't know any better, or maybe their competitors actually have something very similar to this. Now, I'll show you guys how to double your conversion rate just by making a single tweak to your contact form. Oh, actually, maybe not a single tweak, but a very small tweak. Contact. And we'll just paste this in as a HTML so you guys can see what the contact form actually looks like. So, publishing failed. This response is not a valid JSON response. Let's try again. So, once this has finished saving, what we should be able to see is the actual contact form fully loaded up. Let's see now. Come on. Saving. What we could actually try is HTML. You could also have like contact forms on your service pages as well. That's always another way that you can increase conversion rates. A lot of businesses, they don't actually have any contact forms on service pages, which I think is a missed opportunity as well. Bad gateway. Right, let's take a look here. Maybe it's to do with let's see. What I might do is I'm going to actually just log in to Right, there we go. So we have got our contact page set up. As you can see, this is the contact form here. Now, again, like what I was saying before, a lot of businesses have this regular, very, very standard contact form. And if you are getting traffic already to your website, the easiest way that you can generate more leads is by focusing on your conversion rate optimization, by adding in more buttons, by playing around with your contact form. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever checked out my personal website, right? But I have what's called a multi-step form. And multi-step forms just convert a lot better because you're asking more questions. So the lead is actually ending up being a little bit more qualified as well. So, for example, if we take a look here, right, if we go to go high level, and if we take a look, what we can actually do is we can actually have a survey. So this is called, basically this is the multi-step. So if we actually click on add a survey, and we can actually add or start from scratch. Now, again, we'll just call this as being XYZ dentists. And what we're actually able to do is ask a lot more questions in this. So the lead ends up being a little bit more qualified, right? So what we're going to do is we can actually ask ChatGPT to help us with this as well. If I want to create a 3-step, multi-step contact form to generate more qualified leads, what should the questions be? Right now, if you've ever used this website or if you've ever filled out my contact form, you will know that I actually ask a lot of questions. So, for example, when are you looking to get started? Is it immediately, 1 month, 3 months? So, in 1 month, how can I help you? Is it full SEO, whatever? And then you click next, and then you've got the email. What's the best phone number to reach you on? And then the first name, right? This way, I'm getting a lot more information, and I am also increasing the lead quality as well. So let's take a look here, right? So what best describes you? So we can just add in like a multi drop down. So we can do what best describes you. And then we've got our options here, right? So we've got sole, we've got limited company, and we have got partnership, right? I won't go through in the entire thing. Partnership. How long has your business been in trading? So what we'll do is we'll do this setup. And then we'll do another drop down. How long has your partnership? Oh, how long has your business been in trading? So we will do this. And options. This way, right? The reason why this is really important, especially if like you're an SEO agency and you're generating leads for someone, a lot of businesses, they get so many time waster style leads. This actually eliminates a lot of tire kickers as well when you actually have questions like this in place. So again, we'll add another one here. So we'll do multi drop down, and we'll ask the turnover as well. Now, the reason why this is quite an important question is some accountancy firms only work with companies that generate 500,000 plus in revenue, right? They only want the big companies to deal with, right? So this is our first slide. We then have got another slide. So what services are you looking for? Again, I'm not going to go through all of them. We could even have this as being bookkeeping. So I actually need this as being a radio button. So we'll do, what services are we looking? Actually, do you know what? This could probably be a checkbox. Bookkeeping. We can do VAT return, payroll, and year-end accounts. So if we take a look at the contact form here, we'll just get rid of that. So we've got this, and then we'll add in one last slide here. I won't go through all of the slides. And then we'll ask them business name. So we'll click and drag that. Business name. We will do email address. Email. Where is it now? Email address. Email. And then full name. And we can even ask for the contact number as well, right? And we can, again, if depending on where you are in the world, some places they ask you for the privacy policy and stuff like that, and other places they don't. One thing that I will also include as well is, this is a really good question to include. When are you looking to get started? Because that will tell you how quick they want your service as well. So again, we'll just do a drop down for that. We'll do single drop down, and we will do, when are you looking to get started? We'll do options, and we'll do immediately. We will do within 1 month. We'll do within 3 months, and we'll do just researching as well. So that's basically what it's going to look like, right? So when are you looking to get started already exists. What do you mean? When are you looking to get started? Annual turnover already exists. Please select the field key. So why has this not worked? This function has required. How long has your business been? Right, why is this not working? Am I able to so let's take a look and see. So as you can see, we've got the actual load bar, but the contact form, for whatever reason, does not work. So what I'm going to do, so I'll show you guys what it will look like, and we will just use a template. So if we do add a survey, we can just create from templates. And as you can see here, there's so many templates that we can actually use. So what we can do here is we can actually search for an accountant template, lead market analysis, tax accountant. Right. So we'll use this one here, choose template. So this will basically import it all in for us. And this will now allow us to ask all the questions. It's actually asking the questions that I was looking at adding in anyway, right? So we'll integrate that into our website. So literally just by changing the contact form, we are able to generate more leads without doing any more SEO, without adding any more links, without spending any more money on marketing. With the same amount of people visiting our website, this will actually enable us to generate more leads with the same amount of traffic, right? So if I click on save, so this is what the contact form looked like before. I'm just going to duplicate the page, and we should see the new contact form once we have fully saved the page. Let's just see. It's going to take a couple seconds for the page to fully save. There we go. Right. So we're actually able to ask a lot more questions doing it this way, as opposed to just asking the same default questions: full name, phone number, email, write your message here. Now, as an agency owner, as a marketer, right, what you don't want to be doing is just sending wasted leads or tire kicker leads, because a lot of then business owners that you're dealing with, they're going to end up thinking that the marketing strategy, you're not maybe targeting the right people. But in reality, everyone gets tire kicker leads, right? Even I get tire kicker leads. But if you can actually include like a multi-step form, you can actually ask people, right, okay, what industry are you in? How many employees do you have? Okay, I've got, let's say, 32 or 33. What is your company's annual revenue? You can even set like a minimum. What accounting services are you currently using? And then we can obviously ask all of these questions. Are you interested in a free tax consultation? Yes. You would obviously want to ask people like their name, their email address, and stuff like that. But by adding a multi-step form, like what I've done on my own website, I also believe Julian Goldie has a very similar setup on his website as well. On his contact form, let's just take a look here. Contact, book a call now. Just by adding in a contact form that is multi-step, you do end up creating a much higher percentage of leads actually interested in your service as well. So that concludes how to rank in local, how to set up the website, what plugins you need, how to set up the contact form, everything from start to finish. If you guys are tuning in a little bit late, we basically done keyword research. We set up location pages, we set up service pages, we set up blog articles, so supporting articles. We set up the website from scratch. We then downloaded the plugins that we needed. We then created the website. We added in the plugins, and we also set up the contact form as well. From start to finish, it just took a little bit less than 2 hours to set up. If you guys have enjoyed the video or the live stream, please remember to leave a like, and thank you guys so much for asking questions along the way, because otherwise it would have just been really, really boring. If you guys do enjoy videos like this, remember to download the mySEO app. It is completely free. We've got a lot more courses. We've got a lot more in-depth live streams, podcasts, everything like that as well. So remember to grab the app. The link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. Peace.